Good evening, all. Let me call to order a regularly scheduled meeting of the Woodland Park Planning Commission. It's Thursday, November 13th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We have to take the roll.
Sure. Don DeZellem,
Here.
Ken Hartsfield,
Here.
Don Hoyne,
Here.
Ken Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Newcomb is absent, Vice Chair Larson,
Here.
and Chair Brown.
Here.
Also in attendance, we have myself, the Planning Director, Karen Schmink, Senior Planner, CJ Gates, and from our City Attorney's Office, Betsy Stewart is joining us virtually.
Hi, everybody.
Pledge of allegiance.
States of America.
The next item is approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes. First, August 28th, 2025. You have any comments, corrections, or a motion?
So I can move that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Who seconded, please?
Give it to Larry.
Larry, okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, and Hartsfield was the motion? Okay, thank you.
There is one minor modification. Larson spelled with an E, and it's not an O. On page 6.
To the set we just approved,
No,
to the new set,
Yeah, I think
Which-
we just adopted the wrong spelling for this week.
that's okay. It happens all the time.
Okay, then
My grandmother does like it though.
with respect to September 25th, do you have any comments, discussion, or motion?
Is that your comment, Larry, on these minutes? Okay.
I'll move to approve the minutes from September 25th.
You have a second? I'll second. Don seconds.
DeZellem, yes, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? All right. Moving on, next we have Pines at Tamarack subdivision, final plat A 25-0247, request by Tom Martinez applicant, and Pines at Tamarack LLC, the property owner, to plat 20.61 acres into 39 lots. The subject property is described as Lot 2, Block 1, Dayspring Christian Fellowship, also known as 205 Sourdough Road, in the Pines at Tamarack PUD Zone District. Okay, to start off, does the staff have a presentation for us?
We do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Again, this is a request to plat 20.61 acres into 39 residential single-family lots. All noticing requirements for this item has been met, and staff has received no public comments on the agenda item. Again, the subject property is 20.61 acres in size and is located on the northern portion of Woodland Park, on the east side of Highway 67 and to the northwest of Reserve at Tamarack subdivision. The subject property is north of the intersection of Highway 67 and Fairfield Lane, which is bordered by Highway 67 on its west side and Sourdough Road on its east side. Shining Mountain Golf Course is located across Highway 67 to the west.
Recording in progress.
As seen here from the zoning map that is on the slide, the subject property is zoned planned unit development. The property was originally a part of a larger parcel known as Hawk Ridge, which spanned on both sides of Highway 67 and was originally annexed in 1992. In 1999, the Northern Triangle, which is now Lot 1, was rezoned from PUD to suburban residential. In 2000, the Day Springs Christian Fellowship subdivision was approved, which consisted of the subject property and the northern Lot 1. In 2002, construction began of the Impact Church on Lot 1. The subject property, which is Lot 2, has remained undeveloped. In 2019, the first Pines at Tamarack PUD final master plan and preliminary plat was approved by City Council. This master plan and preliminary plat consisted of 26 single-family lots and 5.05 acres of open space. The applicants then gained extensions of the approved preliminary plat and PUD in 2021 and again in 2023. Lastly, in 2024, the City Council approved a request to amend both the PUD master plan and the preliminary plat, which increased the number of single-family lots to 39 and increased the amount of acreage used for open space, drainage, and utilities to 9.09 acres, and that was done through Resolution 922, Series 2024. The next two slides, we have some site photos here. On the top photo, this was taken from the intersection of Fairfield Lane and Sourdough Road looking north. The bottom photo is taken from Sourdough Road looking west into the site. The top photo was taken from south of Fairfield Lane and Highway 67 looking north and east. And on the bottom photo was taken from the northwest corner of the lot looking south and east. Per the 2024 approved preliminary plat and master plan, the subject property is currently approved for 39 single-family lots and 9.09 acres of open space. On the right-hand side of the slide is the phasing plan that was approved with the preliminary plat. Phase 1 was the southern portion of the property, with the second phase being the northern portion. As part of this final plat application, the applicants are now requesting a minor change in how the project will be phased and constructed. Due to the number of improvements needed for the project, the applicants are proposing to flip the phasing plan so the northern portion of the property is developed in Phase 1. Phase 1 will include the northern 18 residential lots and all underground utilities, grading, drainage, and primary circulation for infrastructure. Additionally, Phase 1 includes the required Colorado Department of Transportation improvements to State Highway 67. And the remaining 21 lots will comprise the balance of development in Phase 2. This is a snapshot of the final plat of Phase 1 of the development, which again includes a total of 18 lots. This is a snapshot of the remaining portion of the final plat, which is Phase 2, and again, that's the southern portion of the subject property. Here on this slide is a preliminary landscaping plan that was approved with the preliminary plat. A final landscaping plan that is consistent with what you see here on the screen was submitted during the construction documents. And per the condition of approval 4E, which was in your staff report and the preliminary plat, the applicants will construct access to Centennial Trail. The red circle you see on the screen indicates the trail connection. The application was referred to the entities listed here on this slide. The Woodland Park Utilities Department did comment and stated they are generally accepting of the proposed final plat, but is still reviewing the construction documents to ensure it meets all of the Woodland Park specifications. The Woodland Parks and Recreation Advisory Board did review this item yesterday on November 12th and recommended to accept the park development fees and keep the trail connection to Centennial Trail. The Woodland Park Planning Department did not receive any comments from the fire department, but will need to follow up regarding the fire hydrant locations. Planning staff analyzed this application through Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code. The full analysis was included within your staff report. All provisions on this slide comply, but I would like to call out Section 17.24.090C on this slide. It does comply, but the number of residential lots and availability of water taps was approved by the Woodland Park City Council and the Woodland Park Utilities Department during the 2024 PUD and preliminary plat amendment process. The number of residential lots, which is 39, the applicants are proposing has not changed, and the Woodland Park Utilities Department has planned to serve that total of 39 residential lots on the subject property. Again, all provisions listed here on this slide comply. And regarding the last slide, which is the Pines at Tamarack development team did already pay the park capital fees totaling $50,544. This fee is based on the number of residential lots being platted and city staff received that payment on October 20th, consistent with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board's recommendation. And with that, staff is recommending approval based off of the findings in the staff report and presented here at public hearing tonight. Of the request by Tom Martinez and the Pines at Tamarack LLC to plat the 20.61 acres into 39 lots, subject to the following conditions. Prior to installation of infrastructure, the applicant shall obtain a zoning development permit for infrastructure, which the application shall include what you see here listed on the slide. I don't want to bore you with all of the details of the construction document phase here, so. The applicant must adhere to all CDOT requirements and obtain the necessary permits and approvals with CDOT. Prior to conveyance of any proposed lot, the applicant shall record a final plat, complete installation of all required improvements or enter into a subdivision development agreement fully secured with an acceptable guarantee, repair and upgrade Sourdough Road to city standards for the full length along the eastern boundary of Lot 2, or again, enter into an SDA that fully secures with the acceptable guarantee. And also again, comply with CDOT requirements regarding the deceleration lane that CDOT is requiring on Highway 67. And lastly here, prior to recording the final plat, the applicant shall submit the covenants, which include deed restrictions that establish a homeowners association, a letter from the surveyor indicating the area of streets of the lots by zone and open space, and a title insurance commitment or policy issued by a licensed Colorado title insurance company. This concludes my presentation, Planning Commission, so I'm here for any questions, and we have the applicants here in the audience tonight, and I know they have a quick presentation for you as well.
Okay. Before the applicant speaks, any questions for staff?
Yeah, 2 points. One, first, just clarification, CJ, in your presentation, you went through all the validity dates of the preliminary plat, but it was kind of silent on the last one. Just wanted to confirm that as an amendment, would that have a 2-year validity date for the preliminary plat, or would that be like, or would that be considered a 1-year extension?
The extension that was granted the extension that was granted in 2024, is that what you're questioning? Whether
Was the last time it was
The,
preliminary plat was approved, yeah, in 2024. So it was more than a year ago.
So the extensions are for 1 year, but the approval is for 2, so it's still currently valid.
That's how I read it, but
Yes.
I wanted that clarification.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then in terms of complying with 1724-090, the sufficiency of water. I'm not really comfortable by saying that because it was approved in 2024, that it was good then, so it's good now, because the ordinance that changed occurred between those 2 dates. So I'm not seeing that there is a, to quote from the ordinance, a detailed, verifiable, and authenticated document that speaks to the availability of water. I'll get on my soapbox here for just 1 minute. I was never a fan of that language because I thought A, it was vague, and B, I don't know how an individual applicant could verify that the city has enough water. That really has to come from the city. So what I would expect would be that, a tap management plan was presented to the city council, was accepted, and included sufficient taps for this development or any subsequent development. That's what I would expect as the evidence of complying with that statement. We probably have that, but I don't see it here. So I was wondering if we could walk that dog a little bit.
Yeah, as far as the tap management plan, that's not really on the applicants,
Right,
to
right.
provide. So, the applicants come to us and
There's
say,
no way the applicant could meet the wording as described in the ordinance.
sure.
So really only the city could. So go ahead.
Yeah, we really rely on our utilities director,
Right.
Kip Wiley, to, let us know.
Mhm. So
And-
what date was that? Detailed I would consider the tap management plan to be detailed, verifiable, and authenticated if it was presented and reviewed and approved by the city council. Do we have a date for that?
City council reviews the TAP management plan on an annual basis.
Right.
With regard to this application, it was routed to the utilities department. And did you receive any comments back, CJ?
Right, so yeah, during my presentation, we outlined, so yeah, he's expecting to serve 39 single-family lots on the subject property. Again, he's generally, he used the word generally accepting of the application only because we're still in process of the administrative portion of this, which is the construction documents. So the utilities director is actively reviewing the utilities plan, the stormwater management plan.
Yeah, I just want to know that the
storm
city
sewer.
council has, I'll say, blessed off on the tap management plan, which had at least 39 taps allocated for this property. Is that
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
okay?
Because it's more broad. I don't know that they look, in fact, I'm highly confident they do not look at this parcel individually. They look holistically at the city and where we are with the number of taps that were issued, what's available, that kind of thing. And I can't remember what month it is that KIP does that, but it's like late winter, early spring, February, March-ish.
So-
They approved like 68 taps for this year.
Yeah.
So
And
for,
with the review, the utilities director didn't come back with any language that says, we did not plan for this, we cannot serve this.
right. No,
So,
I don't,
through
I don't see a
that-
problem here. It's just a matter of how we comply with the letter of the ordinance. So what I would recommend for this evening, that the minutes would reflect that, the tap management plan was reviewed with city council and included taps.
To the best of our
Comment.
knowledge, that, like I said, it was,
Okay,
they look at that every winter.
and then
Yeah.
in the future, that's the kind of language I would expect to see in the complies or does not comply section. That, tap management plan was reviewed by the council. It did or did not include tap to service the requested preliminary plat, final plat, whatever it might be.
And just so we're clear, we rely on the utilities director to administer the TAP management plan. That is not a planning department function.
Sure.
Okay,
But having that management plan that includes what's needed to service the application, that would be a detailed, verifiable, and authenticated document. I would add one. I would consider that appropriate and adequate burden of satisfying that provision of the ordinance.
okay, we'll relay that to the utilities director.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
Can we assume that a preliminary plat amendment was also processed by staff to allow for the changing of the phasing lines?
Staff's thought process on this, we did not process a preliminary plat amendment for this.
Okay.
Just because it's not, in our opinions, it wasn't a substantial change. None of the lot lines changed, or number of lots or streets or anything like that. It's really just on how it's being constructed, and how their financing works as well. So,
Okay.
And
and I can let them talk about that as well.
And I'd like to add, because it is a little different than like traditional like planning views. It's not phasing for platting, it's phasing for construction. So they're looking at platting the entire thing and then having that subdivision development agreement and financial guarantees associated with that. And that will be broken into phase 1 and phase 2 with the financial guarantees and what's released. So it really is more order of construction. It's just very clear and transparent in this application what order they're doing things. Because sometimes you guys don't necessarily see that, that the whole thing gets platted and the developer starts at the north end and works to the south and or flips which direction they're going. So in this situation, it's just spelled out very overtly.
Am I correct that the financial security applies to all of the infrastructure, even though it's phased in construction?
Yes. Yes. Anything that's not taken care of prior to recording of the plat, that needs to be guaranteed. Woodland Park's a little interesting that you're able to start construction without the plat being recorded, the final plat and an SDA in place, that you can start work on all of that infrastructure. And then after that, come back in with the plat. In this case, you're actually looking at the plat, but you're able to start construction without the plat, the final plat having been approved.
And to pile on to Larry's point, as I read it, I'm going from memory here, it's a little dangerous, so I'll say it out loud and you can confirm or not, but all the infrastructure will be done in the first phase. It was and still will be under this new rephasing. I mean, that would be concern of mine if the infrastructure development was going to be partial. But my understanding is not, all the infrastructure will be part of the first phase. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, and the applicant, Tom, here can really
Okay.
dive in on that as far as the phasing plan, what's done in phase 1 versus 2, and the water line, the storm sewer, all that good stuff in the looping. So yeah,
Okay.
he'll hit on that.
And there's a little bit of a distinction, Tom, if you could dive into what's subsurface versus surface improvements, because I think that's a little bit of where the phasing, construction phasing is a little hard to draw in a two-dimensional diagram.
Okay, should we let the applicant go?
Um,
Please proceed, so you can identify yourself and
Good evening. Thanks, commissioners. Thanks, staff. It's been quite the journey. It's been great to work with CJ and the team. They've done a great job of guiding us and getting us to kind of where we are today. And one thing on the phasing, I'll just say before I get into this, I think you have our little presentation. It'll be a little softer than what CJ put together. You know, what my experience has been in 25 years of home building development has been, you know, you hope not to disrupt the residents in the front of the community with having to work.
could you give us your name?
Yes, I'm sorry. Tom Martinez with Valiant. We're based out of Castle Rock, and we're part of the team here building the community with the owner. So, you know, swapping the phases was really about keeping the residents in mind, because if you think about, you know, kind of the front of that community and all the traffic that's going to go by it to take care of the north section of the project, it would be quite disturbing, you know, to the people in the front of the community. So what we've seen is that you kind of work your way out of the community is the best way to go. And so by putting the, you know, most of the improvements, you know, obviously towards the north and kind of working our way down, then, you know, as homes or lots are finished on the north side and they get finished further south, you know, you're not having to have a lot of, you know, construction traffic going past the new home. So that's really kind of the philosophy of why we did the switch on phasing. And then majority of the infrastructure and the cost is in phase 1 because of the public improvements and the offsites, you know, the CDOT requirements for the decel lane, and then all improving Sourdough, which currently is a dirt road now, at least a large portion of it. So, you know, having all that kind of baked in up front was part of our preliminary plat approval. And so that's the game plan. So, yeah, anyway, but no, we're excited about this project, and we think Woodland Park is an incredible place to live, play, work. We want to be part of it. We see a lot of value in this particular location. We see, you know, new home construction being an important growth segment of the town's plan, and being able to bring something of value, both economically and just practically for people who want to have new homes in the area. So, so we're excited about it. You know, breaking into 2 phases again was kind of a little bit more matter of economics and how much you spend, you know, kind of upfront versus, you know, what you spend holistically. But we're putting the majority of the emphasis on the first phase. And then the final 21 lots is, you know, with a lot of the subsurface improvements already done, then we don't have to worry so much about that as we get into phase 2. So anyway, we intend also to proceed with the construction and building of all 39 single-family homes. We look at home sales beginning sometime in the spring or summer of this upcoming year, 2026. Most of our homes from a design standpoint will be, we think, kind of in the sweet spot, you know, of a price point and size of homes that are really in demand for the submarket here. And, you know, I wouldn't say more of an affordable type of play, but you see a lot of homes in Woodland Park. If you want some acreage, it's you know, it's expensive. And so I think if we can build a project that allows for, you know, for a wide ranging of demographics to be able to pursue home ownership and new homes in Woodland Park, then we think that our price point is going to be, you know, is going to be in the ballpark of what we think is the demand. So we're excited about that. You know, again, we think it's going to be a beautiful community. Next slide here, CJ. Took a shot of it just yesterday. It was beautiful out there, just incredible, the trees and the topography. We're planning on keeping a lot of the existing topography there. So we really don't want to disturb really anything that we don't need to. So we've game planned essentially our roads and the cutting of roads in with really limited tree impact. We want to keep the trees as much as we can. And with what trees we do have to impact, we've put together somewhat of a comprehensive plan to repurpose them in any way we can, whether it's through our own mulching effort and using them for BMPs, for landscaping, maybe a little stockpile for maybe some firewood, you know, and donate those to where we can. And then we've had a lot of interest from some of the lumber yards, you know, to maybe procure some of the trees too. So, you know, we want to be good stewards of it. It's one of our core values. And so, yeah, we're excited about kind of what that process looks like. And as we start mobilizing and clearing. So, yeah. So, yeah, as we talked about, these are the two phases. I think we've, you know, somewhat hit most of that with regards to the offsite and public improvements being in phase one. Next slide, see. You know, from a utility standpoint, a large portion of the utilities are coming off the front of the kind of up top there where the property line is. We're going to be coming up from the north. We do have a horizontal boring that's going to go underneath Highway 67, kind of a water loop. And we've been working with the other developers across the street to work together on that. So yeah, quite a bit. And then there's a pond structure, you know, somewhat in phase one right there in that location for drainage. It was important to remember in our preliminary plat discussions just about the access to trails and to make sure that we were, you know, providing some, you know, natural, just open space, you know, to the most best of our ability. This site, if you've ever been on it, it has a lot of topography to it. So it's got some movement, you know, and so it looks pretty flat there, but it's, yeah, it's got a lot of character. So it's going to be a beautiful place to live. I mean, it's just going to be incredible. Next slide. So just a little bit, you can kind of see a little bit of the overall grading plan. You know, again, we're going to do our best not to disturb, you know, the lots themselves. We'll probably leave for the builder, which could be ourselves or, you know, could be someone else, but to do any lot clearing, as long as we have our infrastructure stubbed in and, you know, and of course our overall drainage flowing, you know, and meeting the city's requirements and engineer requirements. So next slide. Yeah, so just, you know, kind of a somewhat of a glimpse of some inspirational of kind of what we think, you know, homes might look like tucked in around the treescape there. You know, this is just conceptual in nature. Next slide. You know, we want to really, you know, hit on, you know, what we think is kind of a mountain rustic and mountain modern, you know, feel. We certainly don't want to come in with a product that is uncharacteristic to Woodland Park and, you know, in the mountain areas. Next one. You know, lots of stone and wood and, you know, just, you know, again, soft colors, you know, soft tones, interior. So, next slide. Yeah, just really nice, you know, modern farmhouse, modern rustic, some mountain rustic type finishes. So it'll be a good selection that people can choose from. It won't be, we force anything. It'll be likely someone can come in and select the home they want. Because we understand this market, being more of a custom home market, when you have the option to build for yourself. And so, we've talked to a lot of the local guys here. We're going to partner with one of them in particular. Most people will probably know who it is, and just lean on their experience and expertise on home building. So, but we have a 25-year home building background, and certainly appreciate when you come into a new market, just making sure you do what's best for the community. So anyway, but that's a little bit about our approach to this, and yeah, we're very excited about the opportunity. So also, we have our engineer on, I think, on the call as well. So from a technical standpoint, if there are any questions, we can certainly get into that, and we can put up any slides that are needed. So. Thank you.
Have you had an opportunity to review the conditions of approval recommended by staff?
Yes,
And do you accept those?
we do. We do. Yeah. It's been a great working relationship with the staff. We've had a standing weekly call for almost 4 months now. As we were going through this process, we wanted to make sure that, we were following suit.
We just clarified the schedule. You said something, houses or lots being for sale in the spring or summer next year?
Yeah, right now we're in for an early grading permit. As I think Karen outlined, it's a unique process in most jurisdictions where you can actually start, activity without your plat being recorded. So we are, we want to get a jump on it with the elements here, obviously. So we'll do some stuff here in the next quarter, get through, to April, and hopefully start getting into those road improvements, with the intention right now in our schedule to get to finish lots on those first 18 around July. And then, if we can start some pre-sales, in the springtime, we definitely will, give it a shot. So, but once we get through our plat recording, which is really the key to our financing too, it's important that we check those boxes. But yeah, our intention is to start hopefully some pre-sales and get some interest going in the spring.
Thank you.
And one quick question, just in your presentation on your grading plan, the access or trail easement over to the Centennial Trail, it said prop period sidewalk. Prop mean?
Proposed.
Proposed.
Yeah.
It's all proposed, so does that mean there's a sidewalk?
There is, yes. I guess it shows proposed here, but it's on the plan, and it's it's on the CDs that we've submitted. So yes, it's good question. It is happening. Yes. Yeah. That access to that trail was really important to our discussions. We know how, active this community is, and we want to enhance that by having access to our residents there to the trail.
So that particular area will be more than a utility easement, it'll be an access easement as well.
Yeah, and there's a really beautiful pathway there now. That's like paved. I mean, it's a good little trail. So, in fact, I hope we don't do any disturbance to it, because it's easier to maintain if we don't. But no, it's already a pretty good shape. So we just want to enhance it.
Okay, looks like we've sort of exhausted our comments for right now. Let me open, if I may, let me open the matter for public comment. And TJ may ask, if there's no one here in the room, ask people, anyone online, if you raise your hand online if you're interested in making a comment.
No hands raised.
No hands raised. All right, then I will close the public comment period. I don't think there's much need for rebuttal about on issues raised in public comment.
It's a hot crowd, yeah. Which I think is a good sign. I mean, I think we're generally seeing positive results from what we're doing here.
Have you had any communications and discussions with the neighbors to the north?
We have nothing formal. You know, we've bumped into them from time out there and they've been, you know, waved and friendly neighbors, you know. One of the things I will tell you that we do in any development, whether it be we build a, you know, home building or it be a development like this, is we'll actually approach all of our neighbors and give them our card, explain to them kind of what we're about to do, like apologize that it's going to disrupt the world a little bit, but we're going to increase their values. We're going to do our best to be good, you know, steward of the ground. And, you know, if you have any questions or concerns, like, don't hesitate, reach out. We don't want you to call the city. If you don't have to, call me, and we have a good team, and we'll address, you know, any and all concerns. So if you want some firewood, we'll have it ready for you, you know, this winter. So, you know, stuff like that.
Oh, I applaud that prudent strategy.
It's
Okay,
proved to be
well,
a good thing, because we've had several, you know, we can't be there 24/7. And it's amazing too. It actually works the other way. They'll call me and say, hey, by the way, I noticed that there was this guy on the property and, you know, had a blue truck and, you know, had his flashers on and, you know, oh yeah, that was our surveyor, you know, so yeah, thanks for calling, you know. So it works both ways.
Okay, if there's no more questions for the applicant or for staff, ask, is there any discussion here? People ready for a motion, which we can still discuss?
One thing I just want to state is I did recuse myself last night from the discussion of this at the PRAB. So.
Okay,
And my apologies, Don. I told you I was gonna email you about that,
Hey,
and I didn't.
I figured it out.
Sorry about that.
Me and Council Member Smith that both had to leave the room.
Okay, good deal.
Does that have any bearing here?
I'm just making it public record that I have not looked at this before tonight, so,
Oh, I see. So-
because it's a QJ.
So that you could retain. After your.
Is the lack of comments or concerns from the fire department any concerns, staff?
No concerns.
Yeah.
No, and obviously, you know, every time a home is proposed to be built, that comes through our department as well. You know, so the fire chief, Tyler Lambert, looks at every single family home that will be built on there. Again, some follow-up needs to happen as far as my concern is, because during the utility plan process, we marked out, and the applicants has marked out some fire hydrant locations. So just need to nail down the fire chief and give us the okay on the fire hydrant location. So if he needs that change, then we'll relay that to the applicant and their engineers to change it on the plans.
And just to clarify, both construction drawings, utility drawings, this plat application, that was all routed to the fire department. We just have not received anything back. And so since fire hydrants are almost like tattoos, that they're for forever, we're just being overly cautious to absolutely get confirmation from the fire chief that what is proposed will meet the fire department's needs.
Okay, good.
So it's more of a cross-reference, double check kind of thing.
You don't oversee the length of the temporary cul-de-sac as being a concern of the fire department.
They did not express any concerns through the original proposed plans or the amendment that was reviewed last year.
Okay. Thank you.
CJ, would you like to put up your proposed language?
Also, if I could add one more comment, is that okay?
Sure.
We actually did recently a fire flow test by Lamb Excavation. They performed it for us here locally. And we had more than substantial amount of pressure for the project, almost too much. We're gonna have to likely regulate the pressure. So that was good news that we have, you know, good fire flow, you know, water testing in this location. So water's good.
There's a fairly long set of conditions that the staff proposed. I encourage someone making a motion to work from that recommendation. If there's some variation or some addition or subtraction, then fine, but if someone would like to make a motion based in part upon the recommendation or otherwise, please feel free to do so.
Just make it subject to the following conditions included in the staff report. Keep short and simple.
Yeah, make sure you clearly refer to the recommendation, the staff recommendation for.
I'll take a go at it. All right. Usually not the best at this, anyway. So I move that we recommend that the city council approve the Pines at Tamarack subdivision final plat 825-0247, subject to the conditions as briefed by the senior planner, and that the minutes reflect that the city council approved TAP management plan serves as the detailed, verifiable, and authenticated document and fulfillment of Woodland Park Municipal Code 17.24.090.
Glad to second that.
CJ, is that clear?
I'm comfortable.
Okay, well, any discussion?
And just for Amy listening online doing the minutes, that was Ken Hartsfield for the second.
Oh, there's no discussion, no comments, let me call the question.
Sure, Chair Hartsfield? Or sorry, it's not the chair, it hasn't been for a year, right?
Not sure if I
We'll
respond.
give you that. It's almost a year.
My apologies
one
for
of
the
the camps
promotion, the
anyways.
demotion, it's hard to get good help. So Commissioner Hartsfield,
Yes,
thank you. Commissioner Hoying,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Chair Brown,
Yes,
Vice Chair Larson,
Yes.
and Don DeZello.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, motion carries.
okay, thank you, sir, good luck with your project. Okay, next item on the agenda is reports.
Sure, I had 3 items that I wanted to report to you this evening. The first relates to the most recent public hearing item you had related to the vacation of right-of-way for South Fairview Street. That was in front of City Council at their last meeting, and City Council did not concur with your recommendation, so they actually did not approve an ordinance vacating the right-of-way, so that right-of-way continues to be City of Woodland Park right-of-way. So that was how that settled out. The next item pertains to term limits on our boards and committees. Since you all live within the city of Woodland Park, I'm sure you saw on your ballot at the beginning of this month, there was a question amending the charter that now sets the ability or any limitation on term limits. It's now part of what each board or committee needs to establish as part of their bylaws. I've been working with Betsy Stewart to prepare some draft language that we will roll out in front of each of the committees to get that recommendation and that amendment within the bylaws. What happens with that is we're ultimately looking for well, in your case, the planning commission to recommend this is what we want in our bylaws, and then it goes to city council for ratification. So at this time, I will be bringing forward to you that draft language at your next meeting on December 11th. So we can look at that. If there's any other things that you're potentially wanting to modify within those bylaws, I guess this is your opportunity. Prefer not for that to take on a life of its own and become a giant project, because we do really want to get this particular amendment taken care of.
Before you go on, let me just, one thought which came to mind, if we're looking at the bylaws and such. We have a terrific problem keeping 9 people on this commission. And the quorum is 5. We're gonna have three people perhaps turning over or staying, whatever, in January. But, question is 7 or better than 9 with a quorum of 4?
No. From a staff perspective, I like that ability to have 9 seats because I've got a better shot of getting to 5 versus if I've got 7 and I feel better. I like the additional flexibility, the additional people. And I prefer just that potential for a board of 9 as opposed to having alternate members and under what conditions do they sub in? Well, you know, it's just, it gets a little more complex. So I'm actually very comfortable with where this is at this
Okay.
time. Sorry for.
So I do have a question. With term limits, to me, there's different periods of service on your appointment. Some are 2-year terms and some are 3-year terms currently.
Mhm.
So if you had 2 terms and you were in for 2 years instead of 3, that means you're limited at 4 years of service instead of 6, depending on what term you're assigned. So I'm just curious why the different, I think the different term service times are to keep a flow of experienced people in there and not everybody leaving at the same time. But I'm not sure if I know the history on that, why it's like that.
Well, there's also the difference between partial and full terms. And some of
Yeah.
that on my couple of different boards has kind of gotten a little scrambled over time. So we're slowly rectifying that. Right now with Planning Commission, I've got 3, 3, and 3 in terms of when you guys turn over. And that it's a 3-year term. A full term is 3 years.
Okay.
So part of what you get to look at is how many full terms should there be a limit on.
So if you have a less than 3, it's because you took over for somebody who stepped down.
Yeah, if you had a 1 or a 2-year term,
Okay.
it's because you filled the
Gotcha.
part of a term
Partial,
for the
yeah.
seat.
Okay.
And Commissioner Larson, you were gonna say something a minute ago?
No, that's.
Just,
Thank-
we don't need to
Commissioner
know.
Fry, Can you all hear me? Oh, hi.
Oh.
Okay, great. I can see my face now. That was a good question regarding the terms, and part of the language that we'll provide you will show, you'll have an option of partial terms don't count to a term limit, et cetera. So there'll be a lot of different ways we can do it, and we'll have some options written out for you to consider.
Just when you bring that forward, if you would, just, if you would add up where we're all at, because, you know, depending on how short that term, recommended term that might be, it might eliminate half the board, I don't know. You know, going forward, so just, that information would be very useful.
Okay.
For that discussion.
Okay.
And just curious, so I didn't see anything in the, I don't know, referendum's not probably not the right word, but, there doesn't seem to be any specific guidance on how long those term limits ought to be or not to be. Is that?
There is not. It's very
So
broad.
it could be 1,000,000 years, it could be 2 years. Okay, all right, okay.
I think there's some natural selection that potentially happens. But and some of that is because there are some boards that have specific technical requirements of the people that serve on them. Like building board of review, you need some construction knowledge. Another one is historic preservation committee. For that formal committee, you're looking for folks ideally that have some design or a historical kind of sensitivity or reference or background. But Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, oftentimes are more broad and not any more specific limitations other than residency requirements.
And maybe if there was any supplemental information of the history of what brought this initiative forward and.
Oh, bottom line is boards where you've got the challenge of getting people that needs to have special skills to fit in to serve in those seats, the ability to.
No, what you said was perfectly clear. I mean, in terms of why the initiative was placed forward on the ballot to begin with, if there's.
That's just part of the Charter Review Committee and members of those other boards that have specific technical requirements for the people who sit on those, very concerned about the ability to have a full, a quorum period to conduct business when necessary. So there was the possibility of not having a quorum because you don't have people available to serve was a very real concern. It doesn't impact planning commission quite the same way because you don't have technical requirements or skill sets to be on this particular commission.
So this is to override the 2-year term or the 2-term limit that was somewhere, right?
That question modified that section of the charter.
That was her whole reason.
So now the committees can decide that you can serve 3 terms or 4 terms rather than be, everybody's limited
And
to
you
2.
establish, they can
Yes,
establish.
or
well-
you could even have no term limits, like the planning director was saying, for example, for historical preservation, if we have somebody on there, we don't have any term limits, perhaps. While their term is 3 years, and at the end, and at the end of the 3 years, they have to put their name in the hat again or drop, they could put their name in the hat as many times as they wanted into perpetuity. So that's kind of how the idea is.
We'll recap all that again at your next meeting.
Yep.
So, and then the final thing is the email I sent you guys yesterday, and I put a copy of the council agenda in front of you this evening. City council has asked that the planning commission attend a work session with them next Thursday, November 11th or November 20th at 4:30 p.m. here in this room. They want to have a conversation regarding our commercial zoning. That's all the information I have. I really don't know what it is that they are looking for. I think the desire to have a conversation around commercial zoning largely came out of the rezone application you all saw not that long ago, where I think it was 309 Willow Street, the zoning changed from urban residential to central business district. So I think that's kind of what sparked the desire to have a conversation. That's all I know. I really don't have any other information.
I think it's very important that we inform the city council that we have looked at those purpose and intent statements and those districts very carefully during our 3-year process. And they should look at what we propose, see if that addresses their concerns.
Will that joint work session be attendable by Zoom?
Yes.
Thank you. And can I give you an address to send me Roy's barbecue? Never mind.
We can save a plate for you, but I
I've
wouldn't
had-
recommend that either.
Barbecue mailed to me before from friends and stuff for the holidays, and
Just
as
like
long as
that,
it's on dry ice, it usually comes out pretty good.
just like that episode of MASH, huh? We're old enough to remember.
So,
Are we anticipating a December meeting?
yes, December 11th for the term limits bylaw review.
No projects?
No, we do not have any public hearing items. And I don't have a date yet, but probably, I was gonna say it's not gonna be on a usual planning commission night when we do our public meeting unveiling of the proposed regs to kick off a public review period. So that would be on a totally different night. I just don't have that date nailed down completely yet. But I gotta get that review period started. Council's definitely very interested in holding their own public hearing on that proposed document prior to the April election. So basically, it needs to be through Planning Commission in February and in front of City Council, ideally end of February, beginning of March. So that's the timeline that's got some urgency to it. So I'm working this weekend. Any other questions for us?
That being the case, meeting adjourned.
Thank you all very much.